Hello and welcome to Rando Rob. Each week on Rando Rob, I'll be showing and discussing one item from my large collection of collections. New shows appear every Monday, and throughout the week, I'll be adding older episodes of Rando Rob that were previously only available to my Patreon subscribers. You can watch episodes of Rando Rob on YouTube at youtube.com/Rob O'Hara. Just look for the Rando Rob playlist. Audio versions of the show are available on my website at podcast.robohara.com or through iTunes. Just search for Rando Rob. Thanks for watching or listening, and I hope you enjoy this vintage episode of Rando Rob. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Rando Rob. It is Monday morning. I am on my lunch break this morning. I'm taking my lunch break a few minutes early. When you work at home, what's a lunch break? When you work from home, lunch is walking to the refrigerator, taking the coffee mug and plate that's here on my desk from breakfast and exchanging them for a glass of water or something like that and some food for lunch. What's dinner? It's when you take the plate and a glass of water from lunch into the kitchen and come back in here with something else for dinner. Doesn't it all run together? What crazy. Working from home is, you know what? I would never look a gift horse in the mouth because, let's face it. Number one, there are so many people over the past couple of years during the pandemic that either haven't been able to work from home or have lost their jobs, things like that. So don't misunderstand me. I feel, blessed is really the only word I can think of. I just feel super lucky that I've been able to continue to work full time and I could do everything that I ever did in an office. All the stuff that I do is remote work. It's just I was going into a place and doing remote work. Now I do remote work from here. Will we go? We're supposed to go back into the office sometime this year, but who knows? The date keeps getting pushed back further and further. So we'll see when something happens. But I tell you what, it does sometimes make the days long when you just sit in one spot. I have to force myself to get up and move around. And sometimes I turn the chair over here because there's stuff to do. And sometimes I turn the chair over there. And sometimes I go to the living room and come back. But this is kind of, at least for 8 hours a day, this is my home, which is not a bad home to be in. Not a bad place at all. So anyway, I've had DOS on the mind for the past couple of weeks. You know, I played Rogue from Epics on the first episode of Like a DOS, and my head's just been spinning thinking like, oh, what DOS games will I do next? What DOS stuff will people want to hear about? You know, and don't get me wrong, I'm always excited about Sprite Castle. I'm always thinking about things to do, and You Don't Know Flack. But of course, Like a DOS right now is the new baby, and that's the one that I've had on my brain. And so over here, which you can't quite see, I've got a large collection of boxed computer software. None of it are things that I owned as a kid. I didn't really start buying software until I started working at Best Buy, which was in 1994. It was 3 years after I graduated from high school. So that was really when I started buying software. And I still got a lot of things out of bargain bins and things like that. So it wasn't, I wasn't buying like day one A+ titles. I was buying things that cost $5 or $10 out of the, bargain bin booth, I suppose. And so I was looking over there and looking to see what I have. A lot of it's Commodore stuff. Some of it is DOS stuff. And then some of it is, Apple II and things that I never used, but I just ran across, maybe at a garage sale or a thrift store or something. And I thought, oh, that would be cool. I technically, there's some stuff I need to get rid of that's on that shelf. I've got some stuff that doesn't seem, it was shelf filler. Like I got some tax program, sitting over there that I thought, nobody cares about that. Like I bought it and I was like, woohoo, look at this tax software, but who wants that, But anyway, over there, one of the things that I did see, which I grabbed off the shelf and made me laugh, was this title. Now, I love it when things cross genres for me. I like it like when I find an action figure that also represents something in my life that I also enjoy, or things like that, that when they meet tickle multiple fancies, so to speak. And so this was something that I bought. I did pay full price for this. I don't remember what I paid. It probably $20 or $30 or something like that. But this is a piece of software called Audioclips. Audioclips was actually like a brand company, Audioclips. And they had them themed for different things, and this one is Star Wars. And so you could see on the front, there's a shot of our boys there in the Millennium Falcon. There's Darth Vader's TIE fighter, C-3PO, some X-Wing fighters. On the bottom there, we've got Darth Vader, the droids, and Princess Leia. Down at the bottom, it says sound card not required. That is because this comes with a driver that would work with your PC's internal speaker. It didn't sound very good, I can tell you that. You really wanted to have a sound card and some speakers to get the most out of this. Thinking back to this era, not very many people... you could configure your DOS configuration by editing your AutoExec.bat and your config sys, and you could change your memory settings and load different drivers and have it do little sorts of things. And if you really got into, I don't want to say advanced because it wasn't that hard, but some people would modify their cursor, what it looked like, or their command prompt. But for the most part, DOS just kind of looked like DOS, And so when we graduated to Windows 3.1, Windows 3.1 just kind of looked like Windows 3.1 at the beginning, but you could all of a sudden make a background. You could customize what Windows looked like to change it from someone else's Windows. You could change the default font. People discovered Comic Sans, which the rest of us have been trying to forget ever since. But there were themes on Windows 1. You could pick a color theme, and you could do hot dog theme, and it would change everything to red and yellow and white for some reason, or dark themes, light themes, whatever. But you could really get in there and start customizing things. And screensavers were a big thing at that time, right? On DOS, you would either download or you would buy. People went and bought, the flying toasters, or I bought a... I don't remember. I think it was Shareware, Johnny Castaway, but I downloaded that, and it was just a guy that lived on an island, and things would happen. So your computer would go to sleep after so long, and you'd sit there and watch it, and then a message in a bottle would float by, or a shark, and then the guy would look around and it seemed really exciting at the time. Now, not so much in retrospect, but back then it was pretty exciting stuff. And so, Windows, of course, came with all those default sounds, dings and dongs and bring when you would log in and all those goofy stuff. And so what this was literally, it was just a simple utility, which you didn't need, and a whole bunch of Star Wars WAV files. And so I'm going to read off the back of the box here just a little bit. It says, a long time ago in Windows, near and afar, beep. Not exactly the sound of an exciting operating system, which is why you need the force of Star Wars Audioclips. They're your only hope against the evil grip of system beep boredom. Star Wars Audioclips feature the voices of characters good and evil, the ripping sound effects of high-tech battles, and moving selections from John Williams' music score. With Microsoft Windows 3.1, Audioclips can be attached to system events, documents, and Windows applications. Included free, Whoop It Up, a Windows 3.1 utility that greatly increases the number of system events to which you can assign audio clips. Along with WAV files, Whoop It Up allows you to assign MID files to play back at specific events, provided a Windows 3.1 MIDI device is installed. Whoop It Up even allows you to customize your Windows 3.1 applications with their own specific set of sounds or MIDI music files. Compatible with any application using Windows 3.1 WAV files, including Wired for Sound, After Dark, and others. Works without additional hardware on your internal speaker. However, audio cards such as Sound Blaster will provide optimum sonic fidelity. Compatible with Windows 3.1 client applications, which allow embedded or linked objects. Playback and customize audio clips with Windows 3.1 Sound Recorder. So on the back, you can see, along with all that text, there is a screenshot of their application software, Whoop It Up. And so, in Windows, there were only a finite number of things that you could assign sound to, like a new email, bing, it would make a noise, or I've logged in or I've logged off, Windows start, Windows exit, those were things. But with their software, you could assign a WAV file to play like when a program was launched, like any specific program, or anything that you wanted to do, which made Windows slow and annoying. It was one of those things that was very exciting to do for about a week. And then you go, why am I doing this? But it was kind of cool to have all those little WAV files. Again, this is before we had internet access. This was I got this before I had access to the internet, so I didn't have access to WAV files and things like that to modify Windows. So it was kind of cool. And then down here at the bottom, you can see they've included a list of all the sound effects. I have you now. Just all the different Jawa sentence. What a piece of junk. So all these little small WAV files. It says coming soon, The Empire Strikes Back audio clips. I never found that. It may be available online somewhere, but I never saw it for sale. Now, of course, I'm a huge Star Wars mark. I love Star Wars stuff. The shelves were a great idea. I loved the shelves. I have 18 more tubs of Star Wars stuff, and I don't know what I'm going to do. So some of the stuff that I don't love has to come off. And it really just has to become a set of shelves of things that I absolutely love. And the things that I don't love, I'm just not going to have room for, unfortunately. But this, fortunately, doesn't have to live over there because it can live over with the computer software. Now, inside the box, I pulled these out, and these aren't terribly interesting. But one is the manual that I think probably came with every one of their products, which is just the Audioclips manual. So it doesn't have anything specific about Star Wars in it. It just has how to install the software and how to troubleshoot. I'm not getting sounds. One of the things says, I'm not getting sounds, and it says you may need to add more memory to Control Panel because Control Panel can't play longer WAV files unless it has 3 meg of available RAM. So there you go. This other little pamphlet that is in here is actual Star Wars audio clips. And this is just a one-pager kind of thing. So on the inside, we have a list, again, of all the WAV files that are included. You have your default settings. And it says, for example, it says, startup, main title, shutdown, the force will be with you, stop sign icon, what a piece of junk. So those are like the default things it would assign to, but you could mix it around and configure anything, any sound to play with any event. Then, of course, you have your registration card, which did not mail in, bad on me. And then you have your business reply mail. This is literally a card that says, I would like to receive junk mail. Please mail this in. But it does say PC bonus audio clips offer. This is on the back here. It says there's more heroes, more villains, more great sounds to add to your audio clips collection. These special bonus clips are only $15 and are only registered users are eligible. To mail this offer along with your registration card, fold at the dashed line and tape the ends. Do not use staples. Make sure the address appears on the outside. If you're including a check, tape it to the inside or tape all the edges of the card to keep it secure. If you email this later, make sure you already have registered your audio clips software. So and then there's a note, in addition to $15 to get your WAV files, you also need to add 7.25 here for sales tax. I guess it says only if you're in California, so nobody else had to mail in tax. And then you had your preferred payment method down there: check, money order, Visa, MasterCard, American Express. Then you just write your credit card number on this piece of paper with the expiration date and mail it in, and then they just charge you $15 for some more WAV files. I don't know if you got that. Mailed to you. I mean, it wouldn't have been downloaded at that time. This came on a 3.5-inch floppy disk. The floppy disk is not in here because I have all my floppy disks in a box out in the garage. So I do have a backup of it on my computer, so I could, in theory, go pull out those WAV files and make more sounds for my computer. But it seems like for a short period of time, all people wanted to do was add sounds and customize the sounds of their computer, and then I've spent the last 10 years trying to get my computer to stop making sounds. Like, how can I turn off all the sounds, and not just the sounds from the sound card? How do I make the fan quieter? How do I make my hard drives quieter? So a short period of time, make it louder. Long period of time, make it quieter. So that's the journey that I've been on since then. But that lives over on the shelf of software, and I enjoy looking at it. It reminds me of that fun time, and multiple things. It reminds me of not only that time where, again, you were buying, like, there's so many things from that era that we paid money for that now people would laugh. I remember buying a CD called 101 Fonts. Maybe it was 1001. Maybe the 101 was first, and then the 1001 was later. But it was a CD, and you're like, "Whoa! Look at all these fonts!" And I mean, in the fine print, they should put 990 fonts you will never use. Like, this font looks like a chicken wrote it. Okay, well, I don't need that. Like, I'm not gonna put that on my RSVP letterhead. So there was a lot of junk on those things, but I paid money for a CD of fonts. I bought a CD, I believe it was the first CD-ROM I ever bought, had a picture of Superman and Betty Boop and maybe Popeye in black and white, and it was like, these are old cartoons that you wouldn't watch if they were on TV, but how exciting that you could watch them on your computer in a thumbnail that was like, 200 by 150, and you'd watch this quick time, and you're like, yeah, Superman, this is a terrible cartoon. But it's on my computer, so that makes it awesome. But I bought those, and so it was just kind of that era. CD-ROMs were new, and they seemed very exciting. Of course, this title here was not on CD-ROM. They somehow managed to fit the 30 WAV files you paid for on a single floppy disk, which is probably means they weren't very good quality either, but didn't stop me from buying it. So it just reminds me of that era, of purchasing things that now we would laugh at and think that it's funny that you would pay for WAV files or fonts or background images, things like that. So good times. I remember that. Like I said, I remember being, and of course, anything you could do to customize your computer, and being Star Wars was even better than that. So that was a fun plus as well. So anyway, something fun from the room. Thought I'd pull it off and make a quick video. So thank you guys for hanging in there and checking out the new show and listening to the old shows. I think it's going to be a lot of fun this year for me, hopping from show to show to show and putting out just as much content as humanly possible. People ask me, how do you do all this stuff? But it doesn't seem like work when you enjoy doing it. I mean, how much work is playing games and talking about them? It's pretty, I mean, wouldn't it be great if we could do that for a living? I mean, I could if I lived under a bridge. But then I couldn't afford shelves for my IKEA. I wouldn't have any place to put them. So for now, I will have to keep the day job and then doing podcasts on the side. It's working out pretty good for me. Hope it's working out good for you guys. I will see you guys. You'll hear, let's see, this will be the first Thursday of the month. So it looks like I'll be doing Sprite Castle later this week. Oh, this week on Sprite Castle, we're doing The Pawn. It's a game that people wanted to know what game I was going to do in advance. And so The Pawn is what we're going to be doing. So we'll be playing The Pawn. Looking forward to that. And of course, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Central, I'll be streaming on Twitch. So if you want to, maybe I'll play The Pawn this week. Oh, no, you know what? I promised a viewer that I would play Sega games on the Commodore. So we're going to play that new Sonic the Hedgehog game on the Commodore 64 and dig out some other Sega titles. That should be fun. So anyway, if you are into streaming, stop by Wednesday night at 7 o'clock Central Time at twitch.tv/Rob O'Hara. Come join the fun then. And otherwise, I will talk to you Thursday on Sprite Castle, maybe before that on the Patreon. See you guys soon.